Hey Beech class, as part of your number fluency activities for this week, I've put the learning objective to understand multiplication and division fact families. Let me show you what I mean. Now, a really good way of showing the relationship between multiplication and division is to create something that we call an array. Now, an array is just a little arrangement of objects, I've used little counters here, which are arranged in equal rows and columns. So in this little array that I've created, I've got rows of 3. Let me use my highlighter, I'll highlight them for you. We've got rows of 3. One row of 3 and another row of 3. Now, by looking really carefully at these rows, I can come up with some multiplication and division problems to match. I can see we've got 2 equal groups of 3. So I'm going to write down 2 equal groups, that's my equal group sign, remember, of 3. And altogether, I've got 6 counters. So I've come up with a multiplication calculation. 2 times 3 equals 6. 2 equal groups of 3 is 6. But I can also think of this in terms of division, because I can look at the altogether number and say that altogether there's 6 counters. But if I split them equally into 2 groups or 2 rows, then there'll be 3 in each group. Oh, sorry, my thing has gone very strange there. Let me try again. Much better. Fantastic. So I've come up with a multiplication and a division problem that is shown in this array. Now, it doesn't need to stop there, because actually, if I look at it in a different way, I can look at not the rows, but I can look at the columns. I can see we've got a column here, and a column here, and a column here. I might even, just for the moment, get rid of those green things. Can I? Yeah, get rid of those. They're in the way. No, not those. I want to keep them. Right, just a minute. Okay, much better. So now you can see I've got 3 columns, each with 2 in. I can use this little image to come up with a multiplication and a division problem again. So this time I've got 3 equal groups of 2. And altogether there's still 6 counters. Now again, if I think about this in terms of division, I could start with my altogether number, my dividend. I can share it into 3 equal groups. That's my divisor. And then in each equal group, in each column, I've got 2. That's my quotient, if I'm using the real proper mathematical words. So you can see that this little array, this little arrangement of counters in rows and columns has helped me to come up with 2 multiplication calculations and 2 division calculations. If we inspect the numbers in each of these calculations very closely, you can see something unusual has happened. 2 and 3 and 6. 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 Goodness me! All the numbers are the same. They're just arranged in different arrangements using different symbols. What that tells me is actually there's a little family of numbers here that are working together to create all these calculations. The numbers 3 and 2 and 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those numbers into this funny little triangular tool down here. This is what I call a fact family triangle. Okay, it helps me to come up with and understand the different calculations that are associated with a certain little family of numbers. So I've got a 3 and a 2 and a 6. Okay, let's think about it in terms of multiplication first. In terms of multiplication, in my little fact family triangle, I've got a factor here, and my product goes up here. If I'm thinking in terms of division, I can put my dividend up here, and then I can put my divisor and my quotients down here. So if I'm looking at a multiplication problem, 2 times 3, okay, 2 times 3. And because they're what we already know about factors, it doesn't really matter which way around I put them. Could be 3 and 2, could be 2 and 3. Doesn't matter which way around they go. And then my product is 6. So this shows me that 3 times 2 equals 6, and 2 times 3 equals 6. But usefully, if I think of the inverse operation, if I think about division, it also shows me that 6 shared into 3 equal groups means there's 2 in each group. 6 divided by 3 equals 2. It also shows me that 6 split into 2 equal groups is 3. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. So this little funny fact family triangle actually helps me to come up with 1, 2, 3, 4 different calculations, 2 multiplication and 2 division. That's why it's such a useful little tool. Let's do the exact same thing for a different array. Let's have a look at this array here. Okay, I'm going to begin in exactly the same way. I'm going to circle my rows. I'm just going to try and work a little bit faster this time. Circle my rows and come up with a multiplication and a division problem. So I've got rows of 4. 2 groups of 4. That's it. 2. Oh dear. Try that again. 2 groups of 4, and altogether there's. Okay, 8 counters altogether. Let's think of it in terms of division. Start with the dividend, 8 divided by the number of rows. That's my divisor, so 2 rows. And there's 4 in each row. That's the quotient. Fantastic. Try again. Excellent. Right, let's get rid of those funny green lines. And let's use some yellow lines. Okay. So this time I'm going to highlight all of the columns. 1, 2, 3, there's 4 columns, and there's 2 in each group. Aha! So we can say 4 groups of 2 makes altogether a product of 8. If I think about it in terms of division, I'm going to start with that altogether number, the dividend. I'm going to split it into 4 equal groups. That's my divisor. It's going to leave me with a quotient to show that there's 2 in each column. So again, I've come up with 2 multiplication and 2 division problems. So I'm just going to take these numbers, 2, 4, and 8, 2, 4, and 8, 2, 4, and 8, 2, 4, and 8, and I'm going to use it to inhabit, to put into this little fact family triangle. So let's think about it in terms of multiplication. 2 times 4 equals 8. And because we know, it doesn't matter which way down these factors go, the product's the same. It could be 4 times 2 equals 8. If we think about it in terms of the inverse operation, we can think about it as 8 divided by 4 equals 2, or 8 divided by 2 equals 4. This little fact family triangle here helps us to come up with 4 different related calculations. Now, what's the point of this? Why do you need to know this week? Well, I noticed from some of your feedback that you were finding some of the questions on the times tables rock stars really challenging, especially when it asked you not to come up with multiplication facts, when it asked you to come up with the division facts. They were really stumping some of you. And I thought, you know what? I know that my children understand, or if they did understand, about the inverse relationship between multiplication and division, this might really help them. So I've taken a little screenshot of the kind of question that might be popping up for you on your times tables rock stars. Something like 8 divided by 4. Now, there's no time in Times Table Rockstars to draw sorting circles or get counters out and start sharing 8 counters into 4 equal groups. It's asking you to know this instantly. So what you need to do is apply your knowledge of multiplication to help you with this division problem. To do that, I want you to think about these fact family triangles. In this calculation, 8 divided by 4. Well, 8 is the altogether number, it's the dividend. You've got 4 there, which is your divisor. So it's asking you for what this quotient is, 8 divided by 4. Now, the good thing that we know is, at the moment, we're working on our 2s or 5s and 10 times table. So one of these numbers down at the bottom is going to have to be 2, 5, or 10. So we can just use a process of trial and error. 4 lots of 10 equals, oh, that doesn't make any sense. 4 lots of 5 equals, oh, that doesn't make any sense. 4 lots of 2, hang on a minute, that could work. 2, 4, 6, 8, yes! 4 lots of 2 does equal 8. So I've used and applied my knowledge of multiplication to work out our division problem. Let's do this one more time. So check out this one. 10 divided by 5 equals, oh, that's really stumping me. I don't know division facts. Hang on, don't panic. Your knowledge of multiplication can really help you out here. 10 divided by 5. So I know that 10, that's my altogether number. That's my dividend. I know that 5 is the divisor. So it's asking me for the quotient. So I can just use that process of trial and error again. It's either going to be 2 or 5 or 10. 5 times 10, no, that doesn't make sense. 5 times 5, no, that doesn't make any sense. 5 times, oh, hang on, that could work. 5 times 2, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yes, fantastic. 5 times 2 equals 10. This also shows me, if I wanted to know, 2 times 5 equals 10. It also shows me that 10 divided by 2 equals 5. It's a very useful little tool. Let's look at one more before we finish. 100 divided by 10? I don't know that as a number. Hang on a minute. Wait for it. I'm going to use my multiplication facts to help me out. 100, well, that's our altogether number. That's our dividend. Sorry. Divided by 10, that's our divisor. 100 divided by 10 equals, let's use my trial and error. I'm going to use my multiplication knowledge. 10 lots of 2 equals 100. Absolutely not. 10 lots of 5 equals 100. Absolutely not. 10 lots of 10, yes, 10 times 10, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. Yes, 10 lots of 10 does equal 100. So again, I've used my knowledge of multiplication to work out this division problem. I'd like you to give this a try when you're doing Times Tables Rockstars this week. When you come across these really tricky division fact problems, don't panic. Feel free to have a little multiplication family triangle next to you just to help you out. Just to put some jottings in. Try and use and apply your knowledge of multiplication facts that you've been practicing so hard to solve these division problems. Good luck, Beech class. I can't wait to find out how you've got on.